Hi fellas, it's Nick. I'm going to be reviewing a set that I purchased 2006, and it was from this catalog that you see right here, and it's Lionel 2006 Train Catalog Volume 1, and it was the Santa Fe train set. And what I'm going to do is shut this off and show you what it looked like in the catalog. When I saw the set in this catalog, I really liked it. I liked the engine, the style of the engine, and the cars that came with it. And this engine is a U28CG O-gauge train set. And I just wanted to show you what it looked like in the catalog. So I'm going to shut it off and I'll review first the engine and then the other cars that came with this train set. Hi fellas, this is the engine, but before I go into the review, I would like to read a little bit about the engine from the catalog. First, this is a TMCC equipped locomotive, and it has Rail Sound 5.0 sound system with a new intelligible crew talk dialogue and more tower announcements and 8 diesels RPM. Now the two TMCC engines I had before this, when it's stationed, it would have commands from the tower and from the crew talk, but very minimum. And then after you start the engine and you have it running, if you did press the button for crew talk, it would be just static. With this one, stationed and moving, you get crew talk and tower commands. So that's one of the reasons I also wanted to purchase this one. But then I realized that not only does it have traction tires, but it has magnetic traction track gripping system. And it has a fan-driven smoke unit, but it's just one stage on the TMCC. And it really has a lot of detail to it. It's illuminated cab interior with engineer and fireman figure. And it also has the front and rear electric couple. But I'll go into this as I demonstrate it. But I just wanted to read this and let you know about it. Okay, fellas, the first thing I like to mention, as you can see, the paint scheme of the engine. It's really a nice looking paint scheme. The way they have the blue and then the Santa Fe in the yellow, and also the yellow on the cab as it works back down to the back of the engine. Now I noticed this particular one, I still think they call it a wall bonnet paint scheme, but this particular paint scheme, I think Santa Fe put it on all of the engines that pulled freight. And the ones that pull passenger cars, the body would be silver, the bonded part of it would be in red, and I have 2 engines with that paint scheme. So what I'm going to do is I'll start with the side of the engine, and we'll start at the front of it. Now I hope the camera picks this up. I'm going to swing the engine just a little bit. As you can see here, you have your steps, which are in the blue paint scheme. And you have this separately applied railing in this area also. And as you go up, you'll notice right in here, this is where they have the brake wheel, and this is separately applied. And as we move down, I'll just reset this a little bit so you can see it. All of this, of course, is molding. Even the grill work, they're not see-through. But we'll start over in here. As you can see, it has nice 7909, which is in a black lettering. And you have your windows. And this side here, I believe, is the engineer. But these windows, they don't move. And I like the rain shield that they have here. And as you can see, they have a nice deck right in this area. And then it drops down and it carries on with the deck. Now, this is very interesting also, and as I mentioned, some nice detail. This door and the wipers are separately applied, but the door actually open, it's spring loaded. So as you can see, the door does open, spring loaded, and she just closes. But that was really nice. Then as we go down the side of the engine, as I mentioned, it has a lot of detail in the molding, the grills, different little cabinets, and all these warning labels. If you have a magnifying glass, you can actually read them in here. And then you have the grill. But as I mentioned, it's not see-through. But still, they did a nice job on the molding of it. And then you have this nice separate ply railing, which goes from the front all the way to the back. And then I like this, the yellow strip that comes back right down. And then of course you have the same steps with separately plied railings, as you can see here. And then you have this is cast, but they did a lot of nice detail in the cast, as you can see it. And this is your fuel tank. And right here, there's another separate plied tank with some pipe work. Hope the camera picks that up. And then of course the same here, and they have a little separate applied work in this area here. Now what we'll do is we'll do the front. Set up so you can really see it. Okay. Now you have the cow catcher right here, and you have these separately applied hoses, and the cow catcher is separately applied also. Then you have the magnetic coupler, and you have a nice little detail here painted in red, and you have a nice railing separately applied, and you have a nice chain. And this deck right here, it does folds, as you can see. And I like the paint scheme, the way they did it with the Santa Fe in yellow with the blue. And these are your marker lights. Now when the engine is on, this particular marker light is amber and this one's red. And I hope when I demonstrate it on the track that you can actually see it. I hope the camera can pick that up. Then you have your headlights here. And then as you go up here, you have a blue paint scheme, and these are separate plied handrails right here. And the windows, of course, are plastic, but all the wipers are separately applied. They're not in the molding. And you have your number board, which illuminates 7909, and it has a blue backing. Then you have your horns, and on this side here you have the step up and a separate plied here. I don't think this door opens though. It would be nice if it does open, but I have a feeling, oh, it does open, fellas. Look at that. So we have two doors. This one opens up a little easier. And there's the spring, and she's spring loaded. And then of course, we'll do the other side, which basically it's almost the same, except this doesn't have the brake wheel over here. It just has a little grill work and the tank and so on. So what we'll do is we'll go to the back, because this side is the same. Now the back, it has the electronic coupler, and then you have separate applied tubing here and here, And then also you have another nice chain with the separate plied railing, and you have the platform. And you have the back door, and you have some nice handrails, and then you have the number board. This does illuminate. And of course the lights, the backup lights, they will go on. And as I mentioned, they're illuminated. So now what we'll do is we'll go on the top of the engine. I'll just tip it over. Let's see. So we'll get it like so. Yeah. And see, I want to get my hands out of there if I can. All right, here we go. You have some nice grill work in here and a nice little deck over in this here. But again, this is all molded. And you have your stacks painted silver. And you have, this is all blue and it has nice detail, but again, it's all molded. And of course, there's your horn. But the stack, the silver stack, it does come off. And that's where you put the liquid fluid. Now what I'll do is I'll tip it and you'll see the bottom. Can you see it? Yeah. Basically, it's just the fuel tank, and of course this is where the speaker is. And this is those cylinders I was talking about, and this is the separate apply, and also the piping right in here. You have your pickup wheels and your drive wheels. So basically, that's all about the engine. So what I'll do is I'll get the first car and we'll go into it. And each one of the cars you're going to see has a liner really put a lot of nice detail into it. So I'm going to shut this off right now and I'll start up. Well, fellas, this is the first car I'm going to review. I guess you're wondering, why is it apart? Unfortunately, what happened with this car, it fell and a couple of things damaged. And I took it apart to fix it, but I figured, let me just show you this before I really go into the detail. And the reason why, there is still detail in here that if I didn't have it apart, you wouldn't see it. And what I'm speaking of is right here. You see these, the rungs or the steps? They actually come off. As a matter of fact, one just fell off. And this is how they go. And it's metal. This is metal. I hope you can see this. And it slides right in here. There's two prongs that go into the hole. And like so. And then another one just fell off, which is in the back. And I'll do the same thing. So if I didn't take this apart, you would have never noticed that. So they put some nice detail in here. And the boxes that you see this here, it represents a load. And each one of them are marked. And if you had a magnifying, you can read it, what each box is. And that's how they did it. Now, what happened to the car when it fell, I had to fix it right here. Like this is how it should be. See? But what happened, it fell and it hit this part right here. And it actually broke this piece, and these supports, they actually, you can pull it out and put it in, but when it fell, it pushed it all the way in, so I had to pull it out so that it would be somewhat level, and then I had to put a little glue in here, epoxy. I put a little epoxy inside, so that it would be steady and secure. So that's why I had to take it apart, fellas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut it off and I'll put the car back together again. Well, as you can see, fellas, I put the car back together again. This is what it's supposed to look like. I'll just go over a little bit with it. First of all, I like the color scheme, the brown, and also the white lettering where it says ship and travel Santa Fe all the way. It has the Santa Fe logo, which is in white, and the letter Santa Fe in the brown. And then you have some white lettering here, ATSF 146112, the box number. And all of these that you see are weights, and back in this area, weights. Here's the ladders, separately applied, and you have separately applied rungs, and this is separately applied. Step here and step here. And the door does open. And this is what the load looks like when it's in the car. And we'll close the door. And we'll swing it around to this end. Now, this end, it has little separately applied ladder, separately applied rungs here, separately applied shaft. This is the brake wheel, and right in between the brake wheel and that rod, it's the chain right in here. A nice little platform separately applied, and the coupler. And these are they call it hidden coupler release, and as you can see, it opens and closes. It's right on the side in here. And we'll swing it around. It's the same as the other side. But what I wanted to show you, this has spring-loaded trucks, as you can see. And then the other side, basically it's the same, it just doesn't have the brake wheel in here. I'll show you the top, which is nice. Like I said, they really put a lot of detail into these cars. Now, of course, this part here is all molded, but still it looks very nice. But the catwalk is separately applied, and over in this area. And then we'll look on the bottom, which they did some nice detail also. I think the camera picked that up. You have some tanks here, and you have a lot of separately applied rods in this area, and a little cylinder in this part in here. So, as I mentioned, Lionel put a lot of nice detail into the car. And what we'll do is I'll shut the video and I'll put the next car on. The next car is the PS-2 Hopper, and I like the way they did the paint scheme on it. It has all the white in here, and then they came down with this nice blue wide stripe. And inside the stripe it says Pacific Grain Company, and it's some nice bold black letters. And then you have Farmer City, Illinois. And then over here you have some nice lettering, TLDX 13289. And then all the rest that you see here, that's just weights and so on. And then they have a B specific called Pacific. I thought that's nice. And then what I also like is the world, and it has a nice white background and the blue, which makes up the world. Then you have a separately applied ladder, and then over here you have separately applied rungs right in here, and then you have a little separately applied step here, and one right in here. Now what we'll do is we'll turn it around, because on this one end they put some nice detail into it. Just set it up for you. Okay. Now right here, it's a separately applied tank. And you have a lot of separately applied tubing coming from it. And there's another separately applied device right there. And then you have separately plied ladder, and right here is the brake wheel, and they actually have a little chain, and then you have the rod going down. Basically, and then you have some nice lettering right here, TLDX 13289. And also this has the hidden tab. So when you want to open up the couplet, just press it. And they call it hidden. And now we'll go to the other side, which I believe would be just the same as the one I just showed you. Yes, it is. But I'd also like to mention the trucks. They're spring-loaded, as you can see. And the rotary oil caps, they actually turn or rotate. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up, but they're actually turning. And then the other end, it doesn't have as much detail, but it does have a nice separately applied rung ladder, and then you have this separately applied rod right in here, and again the nice lettering TLDX 13289. And now what we'll do is we'll go on the top of the car. Now the molding, they did a nice job on the molding, as you can see. And then this part in here has some nice little detail. And you have some detail in here. I guess these are release handles for each compartment. And then they have a separately applied decking, which is right in here. And we have some separate applied handrails here and one over here. And then when we tip it, the bottom, they didn't put too much detail into it, but you can see the chutes right here. And they have some little molded detail in here. But basically, this is the car. So what I'll do is I'll go on to the next car. The next car is a PS-4 flat car. And I'd just like to mention about the trucks. They're the same type truck as the hopper. It has the spring loaded and the caps rotate. As you can, I hope the camera picks that up. And also like is the color of the side, which is this nice brown, and the decking, which is actually wood, the decking. And I like this, the lettering, the nice white lettering and numbers. This is CR, which is Conrail, and the number is 716193. And again, these are all weights and measuring. And then the Conrail symbol. The rungs that you see here, they're metal rungs. And the decking, which I like, I'll tip it over. As I mentioned, it's all wood, but I like the way they did the detail of it. And the coloring, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, like this is a tan, and then right here, yeah, it gets a little darker on the ends. It really gives some nice style to it. And it also comes with two chains. I'll just bring these up and show you them. Yeah, I guess this is to tie down any load that you have. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but that's it there. And on the end of each chain, there's a little hook that you could, when you drape it over, you can hook it. I thought that was very nice. Nice little detail there. And now what we'll do is we'll go to the end. And of course this has the hidden tab like the other car. And they have a nice brake wheel with the rod, and you have separately applied steps and right in here. And basically that's that's it on this end. The other end doesn't have too much detail to it, but we'll turn it around. Now what we have here is, again, separate plied handrails and a step right in here. There's a little device here, I don't know what it is, but it's separately applied. And what we'll do now is we'll go on the bottom. Let's see if I can get this so you can see it. Guess I'll have to hold it. Now they put some nice detail on the bottom. You have these separate applied tanks right in here and another device and a lot of separate applied piping which comes in here and in this area. And basically that's the car. So what we'll do is we'll go to the next one. The next car is the PS-5 gondola. And again, I'd just like to mention that it does have the spring-loaded trucks and the rotating caps. Now, what I like about it is the paint scheme, the color is nice bright green and bold white letters, Burlington Northern BN 57723. And these here are all the different, weights and capacity of it. And then the symbol here, Burlington Northern. And it has some nice detail, separate applied ladders. And you have a separate applied device here. I don't know really what it is. And then on this side you have the rungs. And what we'll do is we'll turn it on one end. I'll show you one end of it. Now, this also has the hidden tab to release the coupler. And this is all molded, but it's a nice molding detail that they have in here. And then you have the number in white, BN 577236. But basically that's it on this end. And on the side it's the same as the other one. And the end here, it has a nice little platform here. It's see-through. And then you have your brake system here, and it has a nice chain right in here. And what we'll do is we'll go to the top, because the top has a lot of nice detail to it. Get it set up. Now, the top has 3 sections, and you can remove them. But before I do, I just want to show you the detail. Now, the ribs that you see here, it's all in the molding, but still it's some nice detail. And you have these separate applied rungs, as you can see, and a separate applied decking, which is right in here. And then you have separate applied handrail and one handrail right in here. And also what they have is this tab, or the window, it opens up. And yeah, you can close it. Now, as I mentioned, these 3 sections, they come off, and I'll start removing them. That's the first one. And it's the middle one, and the other end. Now inside, which is all molding, but still they did a lot of nice detail to the molding. As you can see here, the decking, the way you have it. And then on the side you have these, I guess this is where you would hook chains down or something to hold the load down. And another thing which I liked and I'll show you. The ends will come off. I'll show you what I mean. I get my hand out of the way. Yeah. You pull up and it folds down. And then the same on this side. You pull it up and it folds down. So I guess if you want a long load or something, you can probably put it on. And then you just pick it up. Let me try this one. There we go. And it locks in, and then you pick it up and that locks in. And then of course you just get your top sections and you just put them back on like so. There you go, and it's back on. Now the bottom, they have some nice detail also on the bottom. As you can see, you have two separate ply tanks, and there's another device here, but you have a lot of rods or tubing that comes down in this area. I guess this has to do with the braking system. And basically that's all I can tell you about this car. And now we go to the next car and the last car, which is the caboose. And here's the caboose. I'll just read what it is. It's an extended version caboose, included smoke unit, train crew figures, detailed interior, operating marker lights, interior lights, and etching metal details. And it does have a lot of detail to it. We'll start on the side of it. I like the paint scheme. It's all red and it has the yellow, as you can see, comes down with the Santa Fe logo, Santa Fe. It has ATSF with the number 999707 in white. And this is a CE-8. And this here gives you all the weights. And right in here you have more. If you have a magnifying glass, you can actually read that. And there's some separate plied handrails. And you have a box in here, which is part of the molding. And then you have your steps. But these steps, and also the platforms, they're perforated. And the same on this side. These don't have spring-loaded trucks on the caboose. And now we'll turn it around so you see the back. It has a lot of nice detail. It has the separate part ladder with the handrails and more railing in this area. And I like the paint scheme, the white, and you have the number 999707, and you have the marker light, which does illuminate, and you have some nice glass windows, and I like the black border, and you have more handrails in here which are white, and the door does open, as you can see, and it has a nice chain, and this is the brake wheel right here, and there's the little detail for the brake. And we'll swing it around. Basically it's the same, and this end would be the same, and this does also have a door that opens up, as you can see, and it's spring loaded with the marker, which also lights. And I like the windows and the silver around the window in black, and this nice bright 707 in white lettering. And on this side you have a figure. Now you could take this off and I can show you. You got to take these little wires off to take the chimney off, and then this comes off. This particular stack is when you're going to use the smoke unit. And if you're not going to use the smoke unit, they give you a scale stack, which is it's right here. I don't know if you can, I'm trying to get it so you can see it right there. This is the scale if you didn't want to use the smoke unit. But if you're going to use a smoke unit, you have to use this one here. And of course, this comes down, and that's where you put the fluid in. And it doesn't puff, because it's a chimney. It just flows out. As it's going, I guess the air forces it, and it just flows right out. We do have another figure in here. So basically, and on the top, it has some nice detail with the molding, and you have separately plied catwalk here, and you have a separately plied some kind of device. And then on the bottom, you have a little detail, and that's some tanks, separately plied tanks, 2 of them. This is separately plied, and some tubing. And this is where you have the on and off of the smoke. And this does illuminate. There's a light in it. So basically, that's all the cars that go with the set. So what I'll do is after the video, I'll put it all on the track, on my layout downstairs, and we'll run the engine and all the different crew torques and so on. And then we'll let it run around. And you'll see how this smoke unit works. It just flows right out. Alright fellas, I'm going to shut the video. I'll go downstairs and put it on my layout. Alright fellas, as you can see, I brought it down on my layout. And what we'll do is we'll start the engine up. We'll go through all the different functions that it has. So right now, let's just start it up. Now we'll go through the 8 levels of speed. That's the first one, the neutral. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we'll drop it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's at the neutral now, or idle. What we'll do is we'll go through the crew torque, and we'll do the first one as it's stationary. This will be the engineer asking for permission to leave. I like that one with the attitude of the engineer. He really seems to be annoyed that he's not getting permission to leave. Now this will be the tower.
Santa Fe 7909. There is track work in progress. Please stand by. Over. All right, we'll sit tight. 7909 out. Please stand by. Over. 7909 here. I copy that. Standing by. Out.
this is the horn. The bell. You can control the bell by just hitting it or hold it steady. Now we'll let it go forward.
This is 7909. Can I roll now? Over. 7909. You are good to go. Over. Copy, dispatch. We'll take the green. 7909, out. This is 7909. Moving to the outbound line. Over. Acknowledged. Out.
Now we'll back it up. As you can see, the backup lights went on, and I'll throw the rear coupler, and it also has that sound. I'll do it again. That's the brake.
This is 7909. We're in position. Over. Very good. You may set your brakes. Santa Fe 7909. There is track work in progress. Proceed at caution speed. Over. I copy that. I'll slow it down then. Out. Full stop 7909. Stop immediately. Come to a full stop. 7909 here. I'm stopping now. We're stopped. All right, out. This is 7909. We're in position. Over. Very good. You may set your brakes. 7909 here. See you tomorrow. We're going to head on home. 7909 out.
Well, basically, that's all of the train function and sounds of it, of the engine. I'm going to back it up so you can see the headlight. I hope the camera shows the marker. One is an amber, which would be on the left, and the one on the right is a red color. Hope it works out. And so right now you have your two headlights on top, just below the horn. You have two amber markers on the left and the right, and then in the center you should see an amber light and a red light, but I got a feeling the camera's not going to pick it up. But that's one of the reasons I like the engine also. I like the color of the markers. And I'm going to throw the front coupler. I didn't do that before, but there it is. So now what we'll do is I'll shut the engine off, I'll hook it up to the train, and we'll just run around the layout a couple of times. I'm going to shut the camera off right now. Okay, fellas, I hooked the engine up to the train, and we'll just run it around. Here we go.
7909 here, waiting on your order. I'm ready to go. Over. Santa Fe 7909, the outbound track is flagged. Please stand by. Over. This is 7909. Let me know
I hope you can pick this up, but the smoke is coming out of the stack on the caboose. Yeah, I think you can see the smoke coming out of the stack from the caboose. Yeah, it's really cool. And that's the marker light on the caboose. Okay, I'll bring it in and then we'll end the video.
Dispatch, this is 7909. Is one track clear ahead? Over. Affirmative, 7909. You are all clear ahead. Over. Thank you, sir. 7909, out.
Well, fellas, I hope you enjoy the video that I showed you of Santa Fe freight train that I purchased in 2006. Gonna end the video now. Have a great day, fellas. Take care.